Hi, Aries. Are you out there flying those drones? You're like, I have better things to do. Strength. There's a song in Hebrew that comes to my mind. Should I sing it? Yeah. It's about someone who there's this woman that walks down the street every day. He doesn't know her name. But his heart does know her name. It's very romantic and very sweet. Your heart knows someone's name before they introduce themselves. Um, you recognize your best friend before they were even your friend officially. הוא לא ידע את שמה, אבל היה ליבו מפמלה. המלה. יום אחד היא נעלמה, וכל דמותה נותר רק שמה. ולא ידע אם באמת, הוא רק חלום הייתה פמלה. One day she disappeared, so he didn't know if it was truth or dream. Too many cards. Too many thoughts. Too many thoughts, not enough heartbeats. Go by the heartbeat. Move quickly, the Chariot. Act first, apologize later. You might not even need to apologize. Five of Wands, the Sun, Wheel of Fortune. The battle will be worth it. Love is a verb, right? Care is a verb. You can talk, you can philosophize, you can think, you can analyze. That's not where love sits. And when you treat love as a verb and stand up for it, act for it, and so on, speak up for it, whatever the case may be, it does something to the universe in which you are a part of. It does something to your matrix. It rebalances the priorities of manifestation, of creation, of serendipity, of synchronicity. The universe hears you, honors you, and listens. And that is how you change the world. One loving verb at a time. And that is wisdom. That is spiritual, religious, societal, philosophical wisdom. But oh, look what peeks underneath. Behind every hierophant, there is a devil. And behind every devil, there is a hierophant. It's the world of polarity that we live in. Without the lie, there cannot be the truth. But the truth beyond polarity is in the discernment, knowing to discern between that which is true and that which is false within the world of duality. And when you know to discern, there are no questions. There's no what should I do? How should I do? You just do. I find it interesting that we have the Wheel of Fortune, which is 10, the Hierophant, which is 5, and then the Devil, it's 15. So the Wheel of Fortune, 10, plus the Hierophant, 5, the wisdom of knowing how to maneuver reality. There's something Luciferian in it by nature. Expecting anything to bow to your will. But then if none of us had expected anything to bow to our will, there would be no creation. So for the sake of divine creation, there has to be a level of Luciferianism, aka do as thou shalt wilt, harm none. What do you want? This fabric of existence is made of pieces of a puzzle. Each piece has to be what it is in order for the big picture to exist. How do you know what your piece of the puzzle is? By what you want, by what you desire, by what you dream. All of these, what some refer to as selfish, Luciferian, diabolic, narcissistic, are the bedrocks to creation of reality. And it's not that mind-blowing. It's the world of duality. One relies on the other. Hence what I just said. Makes sense. So when you judge what you want and what you desire, which is kind of interesting for an Aries, I don't have to say this to you guys, but this is what's coming up. So if that's the case, you judge God, you judge creation. In Judaism, the devil is part of God. In Buddhism, everything is part of the cosmic Buddha. In that way, they're very similar because nothing is outside of creation and everything is divine. There is no collective without a self. So in order for the collective to matter, the self has to matter. You matter. The person that you love matters. And the bridge between the two of you matters. Queen of Swords. Right underneath the Page of Swords. Okay. Less frivolous, less scattered thoughts, more condensed, specific, discerning ones. It's not just thinking, it's also planning what the next step would be. The ending of suffering, the ending of self-imposed self-judgment, adding your own punishment to the mix of karma. Karma knows what it's doing. You don't need to add to it. You don't need to extra punish yourself. If you wouldn't go out and pay vengeance on another, and you'd be like, karma will take care of it, don't put vengeance on yourself. Karma will take care of it. Something's got to give, and what's giving is the headache. The anxiety, the analysis paralysis, the trying to please everyone but yourself. And I find it very interesting, again, that these are the messages that are coming for Aries, because you innately know this. So it also tells me that you're suppressing your nature, because in Aries, nature doesn't need me to tell them these things. So if you need me to remind you what you already know inherently in your body, in your bones, in your blood, I'm hearing blood of my blood. Then you've shoved something in deep. And you're going to say, some of you, well, no, I didn't shove it in. I took it out. It's no longer a part of me. Well, then you took your own heart out. That's not something to be proud of. That is not passing the test. That is failing the test. The real test is, are you willing to fail a test, seemingly, in order to pass a greater test? By failing the devil's test, you win the Hierophant's test. By failing the Hierophant's test, you win the devil's test. But which one is the test? It's above them both, and it integrates them both. If you're playing in your head with games of right versus wrong, in a way you're failing either of them, which means you're failing this. And neither of them are the judge. One of them will say, and the other would be like, yeah, good job. None of them is the judge. You satisfying one a little bit, but not satisfying the other a little bit, that's the passing of the test. The test. Having your love be a verb and an acted upon, you don't need a test. You are the tester. That's a promotion, a spiritual promotion. I've said some things that rocked your boat. Good. If it rocked your boat, it means there's an ocean underneath it, and then there's a boat. That's good news. We like the ocean. Sometimes. Gorgeous. The Emperor, the Star, and the Hangman. Lots of major arcana. You are taking control and leadership of your own spiritual progression, studies, divinity. You're no longer following either of their guidelines. You recognize that the guidelines to God, to the divine, to enlightenment are just sandcastles. Every generation, every few decades, they get washed off by spirit. And a new shape is born, and new guidelines, new rules, new regulations. They matter, but they don't. They matter until they don't. They matter until you're required to choose between them, the regulations, aka supposedly God, and love. That's when you know the regulations are just about to be washed off by the sea. It's always like that. Generation after generation, religion after religion, comes a point where the follower seemingly has to choose. But because God is love, God can't tell you choose between me and love. That's ridiculous, because then you'll be playing the game of fragmentation. You will be dividing God outside of an aspect of itself. You'll be taking God's heart out. And as soon as you take God's heart out, God is dead. And no longer is everything a part of it. Never confuse separation with discernment. Discernment is important. It's not the same, though. I'm being reminded of it because I made a short a while ago, I think, quite a while ago, I don't know, about choosing between love and God. It's just been so repetitive throughout history, and that is always the sign of the ending. Notice in history, every religious entity, spiritual concept that had their followers take God's heart outside of God, take their own heart outside of them, the collapse soon followed. Because if everything has to evolve and expand, then the thing that creates evolution and expansion must be consistent and eternal and unchanging. Love is the frequency that holds everything and expands everything and creates and recreates and evolutionize and revolutionize. So once you take the heart out of evolution, the process of evolution, the process of expansion, aka spiritual paths, they won't survive. Nature won't allow them to survive, let alone thrive, because they go against the thing that they speak of, eternal divinity. Stay magic, stay true, stay free. I love you.